Hello everyone, welcome to Exampur. Today we are going to discuss some important questions related to polity. So around 50 questions we will discuss in this session. So let's start the session and come on to the first question. Here we have the first question. So the first question is, India is a republic because. So India, we all know that India is a republic country, but in the question they ask that India is a republic. So we have to know the definition of republic country. So find out what exactly the correct statement from the options given below. It is a parliamentary democracy. It is democratic country. The head of the state is elected for a definite period, and all of the above. So what exactly the correct answer, guys? If India is a republic country, then what is the statement is correct that define India as a republic nation? So guys, I think everyone knows that if any country is a republic country, then the basic principle is that the basic definition of any republic country is that if the head of a state is elected, okay, if the head of a state is elected for a definite time or a definite period, okay, not a hierarchical. So if the head of a state is elected for a definite time, then that country is considered as the republic country. Okay, that country is considered as the republic country. That's why the correct statement and the correct answer is option number C, because in the head of India, the head of a state is president in India, and president is elected for a definite time, for a definite period. Okay, and he was elected by the member of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and Legislative Assembly. It means Vidhan Sabha. So that's why the correct answer is option number C. Now we have to move on the next question. And the next question, here we have the idea of residual power. Okay, the idea of residual power in the Indian constitution has been taken from the constitution of. So guys, again a very important question, that the idea of residual power, the idea of residual power has been taken in Indian constitution from which constitution? So residual power is one of the important power of that in Indian constitution. So all the subjects that not include in three important list, okay, these subjects includes in residual list, or we can say in residual power. Okay, I again repeat that all the subject or any subject that not include in the three important list called union, state and concurrent list. So all those subjects were mentioned, those subjects were included in the residual power. Okay, any decision related to the residual power is given to the central government. Okay, only central government can take any decision related to the residual power or any subject related to the residual power. Okay, so basically what exactly the correct answer, from where, from which country we took the concept of residual power? So here we have some options like South Africa, Canada, Japan and USA. So what is the correct answer, guys? What is the correct answer of this particular question? So the correct answer is Canada. We take the residual power from the constitution of Canada. Okay, now move on to the next one. Here we have the another question. Days means cases that can be directly considered by the Supreme Court without going to the lower courts before that. So again a very important and interesting question related to judicial system of India. So in this question they ask that days means, it means out of these four options, which of the following jurisdiction means cases that can be directly considered by the Supreme Court. Okay, these type of cases is considered by only by the Supreme Court without going to the lower courts before that. Okay, so guys, here we have some options like original jurisdiction, writ jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction and advisory jurisdiction. So the correct answer is original jurisdiction, in which Supreme Court take decision only by own. Okay, not going to the lower courts. Which type of cases include in original jurisdiction? So guys, there are few examples, like if a dispute between center and state. Okay, first one is if dispute between center and state. Okay, if dispute between center and state, then if a dispute between center and more than two states, okay, center and more than two states, and third one is if a dispute between two and more than two states. Okay, two and more than states. So dispute between state and more than two states. So basically these type of cases, this type of cases is considered as a original jurisdiction of Supreme Court. Okay, now move on to the next one. Here we have the next question. Days makes law on matters included in the union list and concurrent list. So out of which of the following legislature or legislation can make laws related to the subject of union and the concurrent list? So guys, what is the correct answer? Which type of subjects days makes law? Which type of legislation makes law? Matters included in the union and concurrent list. So guys, here we have some options like Lok Sabha, Ministry of Defense, Prime Minister, Security and Exchange Board of India. I think it's a very easy question. Okay, because of the options. Okay, because of the options, you can easily find out the correct answer, because you all know that Ministry of Defense is not make laws. Okay, Prime Minister's office is not makes laws, and the Security of Exchange Board, it means SEBI, is not a organization that makes laws. So only organization that makes law is Lok Sabha. Okay, and because the subject, because they in the question they ask the subject of union list and the concurrent list. I think everyone knows that the subject included in the union list, only central legislature can make laws. Okay, for the subjects of union list only can make laws. That is the central legislature, and Lok Sabha is the central legislation. And the subject of concurrent list, so for the subject of concurrent list, the union and the state, both the legislature can make laws for the subject of concurrent list. So that's why the Lok Sabha is the correct answer, and because of the options only the legislature is Lok Sabha. So it's very easy to find out the answer. Now move on to the next one. Here we have another question related to the judicial system of India. The question is, what should be the experience of advocacy in any high court for being a judge of Supreme Court? So guys, again a very interesting and important question. In this question they ask that what exactly the experience of advocacy to become a judge of Supreme Court. Okay, if we want to become a judge of Supreme Court, then what exactly the experience in high court of advocacy. Okay, so guys, I will tell you that what exactly the experience and what is the requirement to become a Supreme Court judge. So first requirement is to be a citizen of India. First we have to be a citizen of India. Okay, so first requirement and most important requirement, if a person is a citizen of India. And then second requirement is you have an experience of around 5 years of judging. Okay, 5 years of judging experience, but judging experience in high court and other equivalent court. Okay, if you have a 5-year experience of judging in any court, in any high court or equivalent court. Okay, and the another requirement is qualification is 10 years of advocacy. So now the advocacy, and that is around 10 years of advocacy and in high court and equivalent court. So 10 years of advocacy in high court and other equivalent court. So the correct answer is 10 years. Okay, 10 years advocacy is required in high court and other equivalent courts. And third one also, there are third qualification is also there, and that is if a person is good in law, and a good jurist in the eye of president. Okay, if president considered that this person is very good in law, if he is a very good jurist, then president can appoint him as a judge of Supreme Court. Okay guys, now move on to the next one. Now we have to move on the next question. Here we have another question, that is the power of summon of House of the Parliament is vested with the days. Okay, so which of the following officer and following authority is responsible to summon the House? Okay, which responsible to summon the House? Okay, so there the question is the power to summon the House of the Parliament is vested. Okay, so if we want to call the session, if we want to end the session, okay, if we want to joint sitting of Parliament, then this type of power is vested in which of the following authorities? I think everyone knows the correct answer. What exactly the correct answer? Prime Minister, Speaker, Vice President, President. I think this is a very easy and most important question. Most of time this question asked in the exam. Okay guys, so the correct answer is President. President has a power to call the Parliament to call the session, to end the session. Okay, and also to joint session. Okay, by the permission of President, we can organize a joint session of Parliament. Okay guys, now move on to the next one. And the another question here we have, in the context of the recruitment of civil servants during the British rule in India, the open competition of a selection and recruitment of civil servants was started by. So again, a most important question. This question is related to the background of Indian Constitution, and what exactly they ask, that by which act, or by which provision the recruitment of civil servants during the British rule in India, the open competition of selection, it means a competitive exam was started to recruit in the East India Company, and this was done by which of the following act? So guys, not to be confused too much, because all these options are incorrect. Okay, all these options are incorrect. These are not any is the correct answer of this question, because by mistake this was done. So the correct answer of this question is what exactly the correct answer? Sorry. The correct answer of this question is Charter Act 1853. Okay, so not to be confused, the correct answer is Charter Act 1853. By the act of Charter Act 1853, the British Parliament decided that if anyone wants to become a member, become a officer in East India Company, he has to be clear a competitive exam. Okay, that exam is called ICS. So the concept of ICS exam was started by this act. Okay, the concept of ICS, it means Indian Civil Services exam, was started by this particular act. And then any person, if he want to become a member, if he want to officer in EIC, he has to be passed this particular exam, or has to be clear this particular exam, because we all know that the officer of EIC is not only for the trade activities in India, they also administration in India. So that is the cause that British Parliament decided that if you want to become a member, if you want to become a officer in EIC, then you have to pass this exam, because you are not only for the trade activities, you are also doing the administration work in India. Okay, so that is the basic requirement. Now we have to move on the another question. But before this act, the recruitment in EIC was done by the recommendations. Okay, before this, the recruitment is based on the recommendations. Okay, now move on to the next one. Here we have the another question. Which among the following act introduced the first time portfolio system in India? So guys, this is the most important question. Now they ask that portfolio system in India, by which act the portfolio system started in India. Here we have some options: 1935, 1858, 1947 and 1919. So by mistake, this was all the options are incorrect. Okay, no, not any option is the correct answer of this question. So what exactly the correct answer? By which among the following act introduced the first time portfolio system in India? So guys, if you have any idea, then please give your answer. What is the correct answer of this question? By which act? Okay, I will give the correct answer. So the portfolio system was introduced in India by the Indian Council Act 1861. Okay, by the Indian Council Act 1861. That is the correct answer. During the reign of Lord Canning, the act was passed, and by this act, the portfolio system was started. This system can also be called like a cabinet system. Okay, this also can be connect with the same system, that is called cabinet system. And what exactly mean by the portfolio system? By this system, the different department of government was divided or given to a particular person. Okay, the person is related to the Council of Governor General, or we can say that time the Governor General. So, or we can say by Viceroy. So the member of Viceroy were given to a particular department, and that person, that officer, that minister is responsible to that particular department. That kind of system is called a portfolio system. So you can connect this system like a cabinet system of present time. Okay, when a minister is responsible for a particular department, that is called as the portfolio system. First time this system introduced in India in the year 1861. Okay, by the Indian Council Act 1861. Now move on to the next one. Here we have another question. Which act clearly distinguished between the commercial and the political function of the East India Company? So they asked that by which act the activities of EIC was separated in political and commercial, and commercial activities were separated. So by which act this was happened? By which act this was happened? Here we have some options like the Charter Act 1793, Charter Act 1833, the Charter Act 1813, and the Amendment Act of 1781. So guys, again there is a very important there is also a mistake in the options. So none of the option is correct answer. Okay, none of the options is the correct answer. If you have the idea, then please put your comment that what exactly the correct answer. By which act the functions of EIC was separated in the commercial and political works and the commercial functions. So the correct answer is Pitt's India Act. Pitt's India Act 1784. That is the correct answer. None of the options given below. Okay, so these are not the correct answer. The correct answer is Pitt's India Act 1784. What exactly happened by this act? So by the Pitt's India Act, the British Parliament appoint or make organization called the committee of control, or we can say Niyantrak Mandal. Okay, in Hindi it is called a Niyantrak Mandal. So one of the board of control, then one of the board of directors. So board of control was established by this act, and around the 6 members board of control was established. So now the board of director is responsible for the commercial activity of EIC, and the board of control is responsible for the political activities of political activities in India. So basically the correct answer is Pitt's India Act. By this act, what exactly happened? 6-member board of control was established. Okay, now move on to the next one. Here we have the another question, and another question here we have members of the Constituent Assembly were. Okay, the members of Constituent Assembly. So the question is related to the Constituent Assembly. We have to find out that the members of Constituent Assembly were elected from where. Okay, and who elect the members of Constituent Assembly? Here we have some options like directly elected by the people, nominated by the Governor General, elected by legislature of the various provinces, and nominated by Congress and the Muslim League. So what exactly the correct answer, guys? I think everyone knows the Constituent Assembly is the organization that make the Constitution of India, and this organization is comprises by 389 members, and out of 389 members, around 292 were elected from the Provincial Legislative Assembly, and 73 were nominated from the princely states, and 4 were the representative of chief commissionary province. Okay, there were that time there were 4 chief commissionary province, so 4 members were the representative of chief commissionary areas. Now, so guys, these 292 were the most important member of the Constituent Assembly, and these members okay, there is a few changes. Out of 393, okay, out of 393, 292 members is from State Legislative Assembly. So here we have some options like directly elected by the people. This is not a correct statement. Nominated by the Governor General. This is also not a correct statement. Elected by legislature of the various provinces. That is the correct statement. These 292 members were elected by the legislature of various provinces. Okay, of various provinces, nominated by Congress and Muslim Leagues. Again, this is not a correct statement. Okay, nominated is by the Congress and Muslim League. This is not a correct statement. So basically, the correct answer is they were elected from the legislature of various provinces. Okay, and they were elected by indirect. Okay, the election is done by the indirect election system. Now move on to the next one. Here we have the another question. And the another question is, which statement is not correct in the case of sovereign India? So I think everyone knows that India is a sovereign country, India is a republic country, India is a secular country. If you read the preamble of Indian Constitution, I think everyone read in the initial studies, in the initial classes, that India, that we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socially, secular, democratic, and to all its citizens to justice of social, political, and really social, political, and economical. Okay, and some 5 types of liberty, like liberty of beliefs, thoughts, expression, and then worship and religion. Okay, so these type of, and equality of status and opportunity. So these type of things are discussed in the preamble. So that's why India is a sovereign country. And if any country is a sovereign country, then what exactly the correct statement about the sovereign nation? Here we have some option. India is not dependent on any country. I think this is the correct statement. In the question they ask not correct. Okay, so India is not dependent to any country. That is the correct statement. Then next one is, India is not a colony of any other country. That is also a correct statement related to the sovereign nation. India can give any part of its country to any other country. That is also a correct statement. India can give and can join any part or any territory in Indian territory and Indian part. And India is obliged to obey the UN in internal affairs. So that is not correct statement. Okay, so that is the correct answer, because India is not obliged to obey to obey the UN in its internal affair. Okay, India is free to take any decision, any internal and external decision by own. So Indian government can take any decision. That's why India is a sovereign country. Now move on to the next one. Here we have the another question. Which one of the following liberty is not embodied in the preamble of Constitution of India? So I discussed in the previous question that five types of liberty given by the and discussed in the preamble of Indian Constitution. These liberty were the liberty of thought, expression, belief, and the other two were the liberty of religion and liberty of worship. So these are the five liberties that mentioned in the preamble of Indian Constitution. So liberty of thought is the correct, expression, belief, and the liberty of economic liberty is not the correct answer. We have three types of justice. Okay, we have three types of justice in the preamble. First one is economical, political, and social justice. So three types of justice mentioned in the preamble: social, economical, and political. Okay, guys, and equality of status and opportunity is also related. That equality is also mentioned in the preamble. Now move on to the next one. Here we have the another question. The mind of the makers of Constitution of India is reflected in which of the following? So guys, again a very important question. You have to find out the correct answer. What they ask, that the mind of the makers of Constitution of India is reflected in which of the following? Okay, so we have to find out the reflection of the makers of Constitution. Here we have some options: the fundamental duties, fundamental rights, the DPSP, it means Directive Principle of State Policy, and the last one is preamble. So guys, I think everyone knows the correct answer is preamble. Okay, the correct answer is preamble. The mind of makers of the Constitution of India is reflected by the preamble. Okay, now move on to the next one. Here we have another question. The preamble of our Constitution. Okay, now the preamble of our Constitution is not a part of Indian Constitution, is not a part of Constitution, contains the spirit of Constitution. It is a limitation upon the granted power, none of the above. So we have to find out the correct statement related to the preamble of Indian Constitution. So guys, always remember that preamble is a part of Indian Constitution. That is the wrong statement. Preamble is a part of Constitution. It contains the spirit of Constitution. This is also a correct statement. So that is the correct answer. It contains the spirit of the Constitution. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question. The idea of liberty, equality, and fraternity in the preamble has been taken from. So we have to find out that the idea of equality, fraternity, and liberty. These three important terms were mentioned in the Indian preamble or the preamble of Indian Constitution. Were taken from which of the following country? Okay, so here we have some options like United Kingdom, France, Russia, and Switzerland. So guys, the concept of these three words originated from the French Revolution. Okay, these three words originated from French Revolution. That's why the correct answer is France. Now move on to the next one. Here we have the another question. In 1858, India gave refugee to persecuted people from. Okay, so in the year 1958, India gave refugee, India gave citizenship to certain persons, certain people who came to India from which of the following country? Here we have options like Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Tibet, and Afghanistan. So what is the correct answer, guys? What is the correct answer? So the correct answer is Bhutan. India gave citizens to the persons to the people who came to India from Bhutan in the year 1958. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another one. Which articles are correctly matched with their provisions? So we have to choose the correct answer. That is the correct pair of articles with their provisions. And I think these articles were related to the part 2 of Indian Constitution, that is citizenship, article 5 to 11. So article 5, in the article 5, it mentioned that all the citizens who reside in India during the commencement of Constitution, there were some qualification. If they were born in India, if their parents were born in India, and if they reside in India before the 5 year of the commencement of Indian Constitution. That is the provision of Article 5 that give the citizenship of persons who reside in India during the commencement of Indian Constitution. Then Article 6, what exactly in the Article 6? The persons who migrated to India from Pakistan. Okay, if the persons who came to India from Pakistan, then they can get Indian citizenship by Article 6. Now by Article 7, according to Article 7, the persons who migrated to Pakistan but later returned to India. Okay, it means if a person went to Pakistan from India, but after residing some days in Pakistan, and then he decided to come again in India, so that is mentioned in Article 7. Okay, so that is the correct provision. Person migrated to Pakistan but later returned to India. Okay, then Article number 6, I already told you that Article 6 contain the provision for the citizenship, the persons who migrated to India from Pakistan. Okay, persons migrated from Pakistan to India. Okay, so that is also correct statement. Article 9, persons of Indian origin who reside in the different nations except in Pakistan and Bangladesh. So any person who is from Indian origin but reside in the another country except Pakistan and Bangladesh, they can get Indian citizenship by Article 9. The provision is mentioned in Article 9. So person of Indian origin residing outside India except Pakistan and Bangladesh. So I think all these statements are correct. So the correct answer of somebody, all of these. Okay guys, if any doubt, if any question, then please put your answer, please put your comment, please. Now move on to the next question. Another question here we have: which of the following institution is entitled to take decision related to the matters of citizenship? Okay, so good morning, Ruhi Pawar. Okay, now the another question, that which of the following institution is entitled to take decision related to matters of citizenship? So which of the following department or the organization in India is responsible to take decision related to the citizenship? So guys, please put your answer in the comment box, that which organization in India is responsible to take decision of citizenship. Okay, so I think you all know that by the Article 11 of Indian Constitution, Article 11 gave this power to the Parliament. Okay, according to Article 11, all the decision related to citizenship is given to the Parliament. So option D is the correct answer. Parliament has the supreme power. Parliament has the total power related to citizenship. So the correct answer is Parliament. Okay, now move on to the another question. So before going to the another question, guys, please like this session. Okay, everyone, please like the session and subscribe the channel. Okay, so two important tasks for everyone, like this session and subscribe the channel. That is very important for everyone. Now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question. So a very lengthy question, we have to read very carefully. So who of the following can become a citizen of India? The question is asked in the question. They ask that who can become a citizen of India. Okay, who can become the citizen of India? Here we have some options. Person who is not a citizen of any country. Okay, a person who is not a citizen of any country where citizen of India are prevented from becoming subjects or citizens of that country by neutralization. So guys, that is the correct statement. That statement is the correct statement. Okay, and the second one, the person of Indian origin who is ordinarily resident in India for 7 years before making an application for registration. This is also a correct statement. This statement is also correct statement. Then option 3, a person who is married. Okay, if a person who is married to a citizen of India and is ordinarily resident in India for 5 years. So this is not a correct statement. Okay, option statement third is not the correct statement. There is no necessity to live 5 years. Okay, so the correct statement is 1 and 2. So the correct answer is option number C. 1 and 2 is the correct statement. By neutralization, we can give the citizenship to any person, but the necessity is that in the country in which the person reside, there is no provision, there is no prevention prevented from becoming subject or citizenship of that country by neutralization. Okay, now move on to the next question. Here we have the another question. And the another question is, which fundamental right cannot be suspended even during an emergency? So during emergency, all the fundamental rights can be suspended, but one of the fundamental right cannot be suspended even during the emergency. Here we have options like right to speech, right to religion, right to equality, and right to life and personal liberty. So guys, I think everyone knows it's a very easy question and most important question as the exam point of view. So the correct answer is right to life and personal liberty. This fundamental right cannot be suspended during the emergency time. Okay, right to life and personal liberty. Now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question. Okay, before going to the another question, we have to discuss something related to the Exampur official app. Okay, Vikramaditya Dahil gave the answer option D. Okay, your answer is absolutely correct, Vikramaditya. Now, the Exampur official app is very important for all the aspirants who prepare for the government exam. So, guys, the one-stop solution for government job aspirants. Here you can find out live paid courses with test series, free subject-wise, topic-wise quiz with report card, job alert, admit card, exam date you can find out, and then all exam previous year papers, PDF with solution, free all India scholarship test with report card. Okay, and the another side you can find out the topic wise free live classes, free full English and sectional test with report card, free exam wise PDF and practice PDF, daily, weekly, monthly current affair magazines, and unlimited subject wise practice questions. Okay, so these are the benefits of Exampur official app. You can find out all these things in one place, in one app. Next, guys, if you are preparing for the SSC CHSL exam, if you fill the form of SSC CHSL exam, then Exampur launch a batch that is called SSC SAFALTA batch 2022, and this batch is for English medium, and the fees of this batch is 2799. But after using the code SSC 50, you can find the 50% discount, and the fees is now 1399. Okay, and the benefits of this batch is 450-hour live classes, live foundation classes, class PDF, daily practice year practice paper, mock test series, sectional subjects, and previous year papers. So I think this is a very important for all of the aspirants who are preparing for the SSC CHSL exam. Now I think everyone knows that the SSC CGL exam is running, and if you want to boost your last time preparation, then you can purchase 5 mock test series only in 1 rupees. Okay, next. Now, SSC CHSL 2022, I think I already told you the benefits of this particular batch. Now, how to attempt the test series by the official app. So, in the first page, you can find out the tab by which you can attend the test. So you can find out the different categories of different exams test, and then only by click the test was opened, and you can easily give a test. Okay, next. If you want to purchase any paid batch, any paid course by the Exampur official app, then you the first tab is paid classes or paid course. Then by clicking, you can find out SSC SAFALTA batch 2022. You can use the coupon code, and finally you can pay the fees, and then you can avail easily the Exampur SSC SAFALTA batch 2022. Now, if any query, if any problem, if any issue that you face, then you can call on this particular number, and you can message on the WhatsApp. Okay, so 2 mobile numbers here you can find out. Now move on to the another question. Now we have the another question, that is, no child below the age of 14 years shall be employed to work in any factory or mine or engaged in any other hazardous employment. This was related to which of the following fundamental rights? So guys, it's a very important question. Now you have to find out the correct answer, that which of the following article restricted to employment of a child that before that related to the 6 to 14 year age. Okay, age below the 6 or 14 years cannot be employed in the dangerous work like mines and factories, etc. So which article? Okay, Vikramaditya Dahil gave the answer option number C. It means right against exploitation. So Vikramaditya, your answer is absolutely correct. According to article number 24, article 24 restricted and prohibited the employment of childs below the age of 6 and 14 year. So this mentioned in the article 24, and I think everyone knows the article 23. This is also related to the exploitation, right to against exploitation. In the article 23, what exactly mentioned in the article 23? The provision is forced labor was restricted in India. Okay, forced labor was restricted in India by the article 23. Okay, so both article 23 and 24 were related to the exploitation, right to against exploitation. Now, how many freedoms are guaranteed by article 19? So again, a very important question. Now you have to find out that the number of freedom, the number of freedom are guaranteed by Article 19. Okay, by the Article 19, how many freedoms were granted by the Indian Constitution? 4, 5, 6, and 7. I think everyone knows that Article 19 is related to freedom of speech. Okay, protection of certain rights regarding to freedom of speech. Article 19 was what is mentioned in Article 19. So it in the Article 19 that the provision is that protection of certain rights regarding to freedom of speech. And how many rights protected by the Article 19? So the correct answer is option number C. It means 6. There were 6 rights of Indian citizens were protected by Article 19. Okay, so Vikramaditya, answer 5 is not the correct answer. Correct answer is option number 6. Okay, which are these rights protected by Article 19? First one is right to expression. Okay, next one is right to form any union, group, party, etc. Okay, third one, you can organize any conference, that is also in the Article 19. Then you can move, you can travel in any part or any region of Indian territory. Then Article 5, you can settle in any part of India, you can purchase land and build house. And then the last one is you can do any work for the livelihood. Okay, so these are the 6 rights that mentioned in Article 19. Okay, there is no issue. Now move on to the next one. Here we have the another question. Which of the following is not a correct statement with respect to the freedom of speech and expression in India? So which of the following statement is not a correct statement? Okay, not a correct statement with respect of the freedom of speech and expression in India. So here we have options like it is enshrined in the part 3 of Indian Constitution. So I think that is the correct statement because this is mentioned in the part 3 article right to freedom 19 to 22. Okay, so that is the correct statement. And then because this right is in Article 19, so it is not an absolute right to express one's thoughts freely. Okay, it is not an absolute right to express one's thought freely. And next, it cannot be. Okay, so this is also a correct statement. These rights are not absolute right. Okay, these are restricted. These are not absolute right. This can be restricted. And third one, it cannot be curtailed by legislation. So that is the wrong statement, and that is the correct. That is the answer, because they ask that not a correct statement. All 2 statements are correct statement related to the freedom of speech and expression, but it cannot be curtailed. That is not correct statement. Okay, Vikramaditya, your answer is correct because it can be curtailed by the legislation. Okay, this can be curtailed by the legislation. That's why the correct answer is option number C. Okay, and the statement for it can be suspended in an emergency. I think that is also correct statement related to the right of freedom of speech and expression. Now move on to the another question. Your answer is correct, Vikramaditya. Now we have the another question. The fundamental rights are negative, restrictive, limited, and all of these. So what exactly the correct answer? What you think about the fundamental rights is the fundamental rights are negative nature, they are restrictive, and they are limited. What is the correct answer related to fundamental rights? Please put your answer on the comment box. So guys, always remember that the fundamental rights are negative nature. Okay, they are negative in nature. They can be restricted. Okay, they are not complete and absolute. They can be restricted and they are limited, not fully. So the correct answer is option number D. It means all of the above. Okay, all of the above is the correct answer of this question. Now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question. The representation of seats in educational institution. Okay, the representation of seats in the educational institution for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes is governed by days of the Indian Constitution. Okay, so again a very important question. They ask in the question that the representation of seat in educational institution for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes is governed by the days of Indian Constitution. So by which article this type of reservation is given to scheduled tribes and scheduled caste? Okay, the reservation is related to educational institution to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Okay, so here we have options like 15, 16, 13 and 30. So what is the correct answer? Okay, so Vikramaditya said option C, it means article 30. So Vikramaditya, that is not the correct statement. Article 30 is related to the minorities. Okay, article 30 is related to the minorities, and by the article 30 minorities can establish educational institution. okay, for the expansion and for and to protect their principles, their rituals. Okay, so Article 30 is completely related to the minorities, and they can and they can establish and administer their educational institution. Okay, so the correct answer is Article 15. According to Article 15, what exactly mentioned in the Article 15? In the Article 15, basically mentioned that discrimination is prohibited. Okay, there in India there cannot be a discrimination on the basis of religion, caste, sex, place of birth. Okay, so they in Indian, according to Indian Constitution, according to Article 15, it was prohibited that discrimination is cannot be done in India on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth. Okay, so this is in Article 15, and this also mentioned in Article 15. A special provision was made that some groups like SC and ST can get reservation in the matter of, in the subject, in the area of educational institution. Okay, so that is also mentioned in Article 15. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question, Article 16. I think everyone knows that what exactly mentioned in the Article 16. Article 16 is related to the equality, that every person in India can get equality in the matter of public employment. Okay, equality in the matter of public employment. That is the provision of Article 16. Okay, what they ask, that Article 16 provides equal opportunity in the public employment for. So this is for all citizens and non-citizens, all except foreigners and all persons. So what is the correct answer, guys? The correct answer is all citizens, only all Indian citizens. Okay, so this can be given only to all Indian citizens. Now move on to the another question. We have the another question, which article of Constitution protects the right of minorities to establish and administer educational institution of their choice? I think I already told you this information. In previous question, that Article 29 and 30 is related to the rights of minorities. Okay, and also known as the fundamental rights of educational, cultural and educational right, Article 29 and 30. And in Article 30, the minorities can establish and administer educational institution for their to protect their principles, rituals and religion. So the correct answer is Article 30 is the correct answer. In the Article 29, what is mentioned in Article 29? According to Article 29, the protection of minorities were protected. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question. Under the Indian Constitution, who among the following is considered to be the guardian of fundamental rights? Okay, so according to Indian Constitution, which of the following organization or authorities responsible as a guardian of fundamental rights? Okay, which of the following organization or the authority is considered to be the guardian of fundamental rights? Parliament, President, Judiciary and Prime Minister. So guys, what exactly the correct answer? Yes, Vikramaditya, your answer is correct. Article 30 is the correct answer. But now, what is the correct answer related to the guardian of fundamental rights? I think we have options: Parliament, President, Judiciary and Prime Minister. What is the correct answer? So guys, always remember that if the fundamental rights were violated by anyone or any organization in India, then we can file a petition in Supreme Court. Okay, and even in the High Court. So this organization can be called or can be referred as the guardian of fundamental rights. So the correct answer is judiciary, because if the violation of fundamental rights, if the fundamental rights are violated, then we can file petition in Supreme Court and Higher Court. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another one. Which one of the following writs can be issued by High Court to secure the liberty of individual? Okay, so a most important question, liberty of individual. Which of the following writ can be issued by High Court to secure the liberty of individual? Okay, now here we have some options: mandamus, quo warranto, habeas corpus and prohibition. And Vikramaditya said option number C, it means habeas corpus. So Vikramaditya, your answer is absolutely correct. The writ habeas corpus issued by High Court and Supreme Court if the liberty of personal life, okay, if the liberty of personal life was restricted by anyone or any organization, any political organization, any government organization or any individual. So this writ can be issued to any individual or any organization. Even it can be a government or it can be a private. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another one. Protection of thought, protection through Article 21. So it means they ask that Article 21 give the fundamental right, that is right to life and personal liberty. This right is given to whom? Okay, only Indian citizen, only foreigners, both A and B, or none of the above. So guys, the correct answer is both A and B. This right is given to Indian citizenship also, and also foreigners. Okay, so anyone who reside in India who have the right to life and personal liberty. Now move on to the another question. By which article of Constitution of India midday meal has been started? Okay, midday meal, I think everyone knows about the midday meal. Midday meal. So this midday meal service is related to DPSP, it means Directive Principles of State Policy. So Vikramaditya gave the option C, 49. Article 49 is not the correct answer. Correct answer is option A, Article 47. Yeah, I think you give the answer of previous question. So, okay, there is no issue. You give the answer of previous question. Now, the correct answer of this question is Article 47 of Indian Constitution related to Part 4, Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP. Okay, now, the another question. Protection of wildlife comes under which of the following? Protection of wildlife, okay, protection of wildlife and forest, these were protected by Indian Constitution. These were protected by the government and mentioned in the Indian Constitution. So this was mentioned in which part of the Indian Constitution? Fundamental duties, DPSP, fundamental rights, and none of these. So what is the correct answer, guys? The correct answer of this question is Directive Principles of State Policy, DPSP. According to Article 48, this is the duty of Indian government to protect wildlife and forest. Okay, so this is mentioned in Directive Principles of State Policy. Now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question, that is Uniform Civil Code. Uniform Civil Code comes under which of the following article? Uniform Civil Code is the most important thing that is very important for all the peoples who reside in India, but that is not applicable in India till now. So Uniform Civil Code, in short, it is called famously UCC. So UCC is mentioned in, again, part number 4, Directive Principles of State Policy, in the article number 44. So the correct answer is option D, Article 44. In the Article 44, UCC is mentioned. It means Uniform Civil Code should be implemented in India, but till now the UCC is not implemented in India. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here you have the another one. Which of the following statement is correct about the Directive Principles of State Policy? So we have to find out that which statement is correct related to the DPSP or Directive Principles of State Policy. Please put your answer related to this DPSP. So first option, DPSP is enforceable in a court of law. Okay. In the question they ask the correct statement. Okay. DPSP is enforceable in court of law. I think this is not a correct statement. Okay, till now around 60 to 70 years completed of our constitution, but till now this DPSP is not enforceable in the court of law. That is most negative point of DPSP. Okay, that is not objectable in the court. So that is not the correct statement. But they ask the correct statement. DPSP is not enforceable in a court of law. That is the correct statement about the DPSP. DPSP cannot be objectable in the court. Okay, that is the most negative point of DPSP. And all the provisions of DPSP are very positive. But the first and the nature that provision is not a very good for the nation. Next, DPSP is divided into socialist and Gandhian principle. That is also related to DPSP, and all of the above is not the correct answer. So the correct answer is this question is option number B. It means DPSP is not objectable in the court. Okay, now it means any provision, any of the thing that mentioned in the DPSP, we cannot ask in the court. We cannot go to the court that this is not happen in the country and this is mentioned in the DPSP, because that is not objectable in the court. Okay, that is the difference between DPSP and fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are objectable in the court. If the fundamental rights are violated, then we can file petition in Supreme Court or High Court. But if any principle of DPSP is violated, then we cannot go to the courts. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another one. The fundamental duties are mentioned in, I think it's a very easy question. I think everyone knows that the fundamental duties were mentioned in which of the following part of Indian Constitution? Part 4A, Part 4, Part 3, Part 4A. Sorry, Schedule 4A. So what is the correct answer, guys? Fundamental duties mentioned in which part of Indian Constitution? So guys, the fundamental duties mentioned in the Part 4A of Indian Constitution, Article article number 51A. Okay, the fundamental duties added in Indian Constitution by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976, by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976, by the recommendation of a committee. Okay, by the recommendation of a committee, by the recommendation, around 10 fundamental duties were added in Indian Constitution, and one more fundamental duties were added after a few years, after some time, and total fundamental duties till now we have 11. So now we have 11 fundamental duties. Okay, now we have 11 fundamental duties total. So Vikramaditya, your answer is correct. Part 4A is related to the fundamental duties, and total 11 fundamental duties were mentioned in the Indian Constitution. By the 42nd Amendment Act, 10 fundamental duties were added, and one more was added by in 2003. In 2003, one more fundamental duty were added. Now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question. Which of the following article of Indian Constitution contains fundamental duties? I think I already told you that Article 51A. Okay, which of the following article? Article 51A mention the fundamental duties. Okay, so the correct answer is 51A. Now move to the another question. Here we have the another one. Which of the following committee suggested incorporating fundamental duties in the Indian Constitution? We have Malhotra Committee, Raghavan Committee, Swarn Singh Mehta Committee, and Narsimham Committee. So I think the correct answer of this question is Swarn Singh Mehta Committee. Swarn Singh Committee recommended the incorporation of fundamental duties in Indian Constitution. The concept of fundamental duties were taken from the Rus. Okay, so from Russia we add fundamental duties in Indian Constitution. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question. The fundamental duties were included in the Indian Constitution by which of the following Amendment Act? So I already told you that fundamental duties were added by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Yes, Vikramaditya, Swarn Singh Mehta is the correct answer. By the recommendation of this committee, we incorporate fundamental duties in Indian Constitution. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another question. Which one of the following is not a fundamental duty mentioned in our Constitution? So we have to find out that which of the following is not a fundamental duty. According to Part 4A, which total 11 fundamental duties, but which of the following is not a fundamental duty? Safeguarding public property and adjure violence. So that is a part of fundamental duty, one of the fundamental duty. Casting a vote in election, then a value and preserve the rich heritage and composite culture. This is also a fundamental duty. Develop scientific temper. This is also a fundamental duty. So option B is the correct answer. Correct. Casting a vote in election, that is not a fundamental duty. Okay, now move on to the another question. Here we have the another one. Which one is not a national duty? Okay, out of these four options, which one is not a national duty? It means a fundamental duty. Okay, respect the Constitution, respect the President, defend the country, protect natural environment. This is a fundamental duty. This is a fundamental duty. This is a fundamental duty. Respect the President is not mentioned in the fundamental duty. Okay, so now the time is over. We have to conclude the session. In the next session, we will meet again. So till then, bye. We will meet in the next session. Thank you so much.